Bonjour, je suis Peter Page on FR Conventions. Yeah, absolument. Yes, of course it did. I mean, it was. I had worked very hard to get there. I had guest starred on a lot of sitcoms, American sitcoms. I'd gotten very close to getting some series regular jobs on other shows that I had not gotten. Like, I was the other choice to play Jack on Will and Grace. So it had been sort of like just out of my grasp so many times, and then this show came along, and I don't think it's an accident that me, this very political creature who was very interested in advancing queerness and acceptance in the mainstream, got put in the show that was the most politically kind of volatile of its kind. And I loved every second of it. On a very short list. It's different. It is different now. I mean, my generation, me, Randy Harrison, Robert Gant to a lesser degree, but we all paid a price for coming out. The roles narrowed. The roles that I would have auditioned for, screen tested for, even booked before Queer as Folk. The nosy neighbor, the uptight boss, the annoying assistant, I didn't get to audition for those roles after Queer as Folk. Unless it said gay, it wasn't going to happen. So, but I'm very happy that Neil Patrick Harris and Jonathan Groff and Matt Bomer and Zach Quinto, that those guys have been able to come out and have been able to have full careers doing all sorts of different roles. For me, I was already determined to write and direct, and it just gave me the nudge to really focus on that. Sure, to be honest, I wanted to start writing and directing because I wanted to tell more stories. I wanted to be the author of the story, right? I wanted more agency over what was being said. I loved Queer as Folk. I loved Ron and Dan. They told great stories. They listened to me when I gave notes about stories. But they weren't the exact stories that I would have told or how I would have told them, and it made me crazy. And I wanted to be in there and really putting my experience of the world more specifically, out and into the open. So that's why I started writing and directing. Now, as I've gotten more powerful and had more and more success, it has always been important to me to correct some of those, or try to break down some of those systems that didn't serve me when I was an actor. So I love to cast queer actors as straight parts. I love to cast people against type. I love to give people opportunities to do things they haven't done before. All that is very meaningful to me. The idea, my writing partner at the time, Bradley Bredeweg, and I, every year we would sort of do a survey, like what do we love that's not on TV right now? And at that moment, there was only one family drama on American television, Parenthood. It was the only one. And we were like, okay, we both love family dramas, so what's our version of a family drama? And we talked about doing a gay dad family drama, two dads, but it was sort of being covered other places. There were two dads on Glee, and there were two dads on Modern Family, and there was a new sitcom called The New Normal at that time, and so there was nothing. And then it hit us like a ton of bricks. We were like, where are the lesbian moms? Like, every lesbian couple we know has kids. Why on earth are they not represented anywhere on TV? And it was just like, it was like the sun, came out all of a sudden from behind the clouds, and it was like, there we go, there's our show. And at the same time, I was on the board of the Los Angeles LGBT Center, which is the largest LGBT organization in the world, bar none. And we had a grant from the Obama administration to develop protocols for LGBTQ kids in foster care. So I was learning about the foster system while we were talking about creating this show about a lesbian couple raising a family, and those two things came together and Callie was born and off we went. Yeah, yes, of course. I mean, if you lay the groundwork, if you set the stage correctly, those things come in quite easily, right? This was a family. It was a black woman and a mixed race woman and a white woman, married. They had one biological kid from a previous marriage. They had adopted 2 Latino twins, and then they had the kids come in. And so there was an organic engine to bring in all these different issues about class and social justice and the foster system and gender identity and expression and sexuality. And it was, you've got to get story from somewhere, and I just like to get story from there. You can also get story from, from medical crises, Grey's Anatomy, right? And it can be a beautiful, powerful thing. And you could also use those engines to tell progressive and important stories, which Shondaland always does. But for us, it was okay. This is our universe. Let's make sure it's set up so that all these things we want to talk about, we can do so in a sort of organic, germane way. It was a great cast. I'm really good at casting, I have to say. I'm always very proud of it. Good Trouble too. The cast of Good Trouble is fantastic. So it makes me very happy. I mean, look, to do what I do, you have to be a little bit cocky. You have to believe, or else it's too hard. So yeah, I did. But I will say this: they had told us they were probably going to order another season of The Fosters. Then they took us out to lunch and were like, "We can't do that. We're not going to. Where The Fosters is going to end, but we would love a spinoff." And we were sitting at lunch, and we all kind of looked at each other, me and Brad and Joanna, and they were like, "Do you have any ideas for what the spinoff could be?" And we were like, "Callie and Mariana after college," and they were like, "Sold. We'll put it on the air. 10 episodes. We'll put it on the air." And we were like, "Great, we've got a spinoff." But we had to go finish The Fosters. We had episodes to shoot, and we had a finale to do, and we were very, very we were busy. So none of us really thought about it again. And then that got done, and suddenly we were a few months away from shooting the pilot of Good Trouble, and we realized we didn't have a show. That's not a show, that's a sentence. That's a sentence. And we had to come up with the whole show. So it was a bit of a scramble, but Brad and Joanna and I had been working together for 5 years. We knew how to divide and conquer. We all had additive things that bounced off each other and added to the soup, if you will. And there you go. Look, there's not a lot of WLW representation in the world. There just isn't that much. So right away, people are going to be excited and interested in it. Then you cast 2 brilliant, beautiful actors who bring such humanity and depth and strength to the relationship, and you've got a recipe for something really powerful and dynamic. My way into the show, the first episode I directed of the show, I had never worked on the show before, I had never seen the show before, was The Engagement. And I thought it was a fire show. I thought it was a show about a firehouse and putting out fires. And Krista, who is my best friend of many, many, many years, called me and was like, "Come direct this episode." And I was like, "I don't do that. I don't do fire shows. I don't do action. That's messy." And she was like, "This episode is not it's not an action episode. It's the favorite couple are getting engaged. It's a relationship episode. You're the perfect director. Please come direct it." And I did, and I fell in love. I fell in love with them. I fell in love with the whole cast. I fell in love with the way that Krista was using that setup to tell stories about Black, brown, queer people, women navigating systems that aren't set up for them. And I was like, oh, this is Good Trouble just wrapped in a fire station, right? This is Queer as Folk, just not all gay men. Like, I know these people, I know this vocabulary. and getting to play with everybody was such a joy, and I never left until now.